Welcome to Cats and Rats Podcast, covering your Florida Panthers.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the latest episode of the Cats and Rats Podcast, episode number 15 here. I'm your host, Kirby Lupo, alongside my co-host, Cody Stevens. Nick Levine is away right now. Apologize for my voice here, as many of us have been losing our voice during this series. I think I'm just a little under the weather, though. It's not from any type of yelling or anything like that. We have been away here a little bit, and right now the series is tied 2-2, heading back to MSG. For Game 5 here, we have a lot to break down here. I just want to give a shout out first to Johnny Lazarus for coming in and co-hosting with us for our Twitter X Spaces episode for our New York Rangers preview show. Again, you can find that replay on Twitter X Spaces platform. Nearly 1K listen backs, and we had a lot of fans in there from the Panthers fan base, some in there from the Rangers fan base, and some fans from all over because as we know, the Rangers travel well and they have a big fan base. So yeah, we had a lot of people in there and we enjoyed doing that preview show. We've been away here from the podcast, but we have been doing our post-game shows as Cody has been away here and I've had some other family commitments. So we're glad to be back here. Cody, I know you've had an eventful week. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I mean, Panthers tied it up now. I think a lot of the anxiety the fan base has been going through is kind of, washed away. And now we're getting ready for, as we know, everyone knows, Game 5, most pivotal game of the series, especially if it's tied.
Yep. And again, I think the Panthers have carried play in this series. It's great to always grab Game 1 on the road, what the Panthers ended up doing in that 3-0 victory. Then they lose back-to-back overtime games there in MSG in Game 2, 2-1. And then Game 3 was the one that, I spotlighted here and a lot on our post-game shows and even our preview show, that Game 3 was going to be the game to watch for. It was going to be a very high event, a lot of goals. I was thinking 7, 8 goals. We saw 9. We saw another overtime contest there where the Panthers fall to the second consecutive overtime to the Rangers, this time on home ice. And I think that's when the fan base was starting to panic, saying Game 4 was a must win. Yeah, I wasn't quite there because how good we've played on the road, Cody, how resilient this team kind of is. And I knew the game would kind of get back to probably in Game 4 what we saw in Game 1 and Game 2, where it was a lot more structure, not a lot of breakdowns, which we can, of course, get into in Game 3. But yeah, just kind of what has been your feeling from, Game 1 to where we are currently here as of this recording in Game 4, just kind of the twists and turns. But like I said, I think Panthers have carried the majority of play.
Oh, yeah. I think the Panthers have been the better team, Games 1, 3, and 4. Game 2 was just so even that if you want, I'll give the Rangers that one because I thought they came out strong. They played very strong. That was probably the best, played game of the series by both teams. Where I just think Games 3 and 4, the Rangers have been incredibly opportunistic. As Game 3, the Panthers just gave them some chances and they capitalized on all of them. I mean, it's just something that I thought they have done very well, which is one of the reasons why they're we're tied up here. But the main reason, we all know, it's Igor Shesterkin.
Yep.
It's been phenomenal this series, but once again, the Panthers have had, in my opinion, the toughest road in the playoffs when it comes to goaltending, because we have played some of the top goaltenders in the league in 3 consecutive rounds now. Round 1, Andrei Vasilevsky. Round 2, Jeremy Swayman. Now round 3, we got Igor Shesterkin. I mean, they have conquered the first 2, but I have confidence they'll conquer this one because, I mean, to everyone watching, the Panther could easily be up 3-1 right now. Just they've dominated play. I just think Game 3, too many defensive lapses that cost them that game, but they can bounce back from they bounced back from those in Game 4, which I thought was their best game of the series. And I mean, from top to bottom, it was they probably dominated the game, except for the back half of the first, where I thought the Rangers started to get their legs. Mainly that power play at the end of the first. That's when I kind of got worried because the Rangers power play, they were snapping it around like it was the regular season again, and that's when I kind of got worried. I'm like, oh, did we just give them their confidence now?
And
But
that's where I said it would come into factor in game 3. I thought they would get the 6 power plays. The Panthers got the 6 power plays in game 3. I went back and looked at that goal at first initial glance of the overtime winner from Barclay Goodrow, who, by the way, did I pick him as my X factor in this series? I'd like to make an edit there. Just joking. But that shot that he made, I kind of thought, should Bob have had it short side? Was he a little deep in his net? But when I went back and looked at it again, former Panther Vincent Trocheck made a great saucer pass over to Barclay Goodrow, and all in one motion, he snapped that shot. Was it from the outside? Yes. I don't know exactly what Bob had to say on that one, but again, I think it was a clean look. And also breaking out of the zone, Jacob Trouba with heavy forecheck got that puck up and out of the zone. And I think that was the best game in the series for the Rangers with puck exits and different things like that. But I'll kind of push back from game 2. I thought the Panthers, they could argue that they might have all 4 of these games. Now, they didn't play great in the third period, and then the Rangers took it to the Panthers a bit in
I
overtime.
thought they outplayed
But
them in overtime and into the third, which is why I kind
yeah,
of gave the
yeah.
nod to the Rangers.
But again, that's when that's the Ryan Lomberg game, right? If I'm not
Oh,
mistaken, led the team in hits, shots. Like we were punishing them. Jimmy
I
VC
mean,
leaves the game. We don't know if he'll be back in this series.
he was diagnosed from week to week at the initial prognosis, but if that's the case, if I remember correct, I don't think he'll be back this series. But
Mhm.
but as we
And-
saw in Game 4, the Rangers got back Blake Wheeler, who everyone thought was done for the season, back in January, and
Yep.
now they have him back. We saw the introduction of Matt Rempe to the series, which I don't know. Still think all the media is still kind of overrating this guy. I understand like why, because he's 6'9", but I mean, doesn't really do much, to be honest.
Yeah, you were going to wonder probably in game 5 to give the MSG crowd some energy and things like that because these have been razor thin margins. And I think, you know, getting the crowd back into it, Blake Wheeler takes the penalty in game 4 and ends up costing the Rangers there, which we'll go into game 4 here in a second. But yeah, just kind of like game 1 was a good start by the Panthers to get out and be established. Bobrovsky with the shutout there. But game 3, yeah, I just saw that coming, and a lot of people were putting blame on Bobrovsky there. I just thought it was a lot of defensive lapses. Just the Panthers not playing their game and their structure, and the Rangers just capitalizing on the few opportunities that they get. That game 3, I just had this stat here included with game 4. Carter Verhaeghe 30 shot attempts. He had 20 in game 3 and 10 in game 4. I remember the commentators on Sportsnet saying, I think Carter Verhaeghe is going to have to ice his shoulder. I think he had 5 shot attempts alone in game 3 on that last power play that really Igor, I would say, won them the game. I know the Panthers missed the net a lot there, Cody, and missed the net a lot in game 3, but there was 5 shot attempts by Verhaeghe, a bunch of good looks on the power play, fans kind of getting upset on our power play, wanting to switch things around. You fast forward to game 4, you get a couple more. The Panthers are 5 for 15 on the power play in this series to date, and the Rangers are 1 for 11. And like we said, the key to the series was special teams and how the Rangers bread and butter is their power play. And the Panthers are clearly winning the special teams battle. And when the Rangers have power plays outside of game 4, when you said they were snapping it around, I'd say the Panthers
They've
have
looked
had more chances
pedestrian.
shorthand. Yeah, the Panthers have had more chances shorthanded, Cody, than the Rangers have had on the power play. If you look at this whole series
Yeah.
encapsulated.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, 5 for 15 on the power play. I'll take that every series, any series, heck, any stretch of games, like 33%. That's an extremely good power play. I mean, I just think sometimes I think a big problem is like some of the fans get caught up in like the result. Did we score a goal? Did we not? I just look at the power play and see if we generate anything. Because if we're
Mhm.
generating things, then I'm not switching a thing. But even but the power plays are not. They should not change the power plays for the rest of these playoffs. In my opinion, I think they're perfect the way they are. Like you said, like last game, now you got a couple. Now the PP1 starting to get going. You got goals from Verhaeghe, and now Ryan Hart finally got the bumper play to work in the playoffs, even though they left him wide open. I mean, good lord.
How do you feel about Sam Reinhart's game? I loved it in game 1 and 2. A lot of the fan base, a lot of our community pushed back on that. Again, looking at goals and productions, I understand the season that Sam Reinhart had, but in a series like this, little things matter. Back checking, getting the other team to turn the puck over. I think Reinhart was doing all those little things well. He just wasn't converting. Of course, did he have to convert as the series has gone along? Of course, because if you look at the Rangers' big stars and Chris Kreider, Mika Zibanejad, Artemi Panarin, like these guys are not contributing on the score sheet either. But I think Sam Reinhart and alongside Aleksander Barkov, who I think has been the star of the series for the Panthers, I don't know if anyone can dispute that. I thought Sam Reinhart, finally showed the fan base, okay, I'm going to produce here in games 3 and 4. But again, I was the one saying, I don't think his game's that far off. I don't think if you're playing that bad, can you just turn it on in games 3 and 4 like that? I thought he was very close in games 1 and 2, and we saw what he did in games 3 and 4. So, what are your thoughts there on Sam Reinhart?
I mean, he's, in my opinion, should have been a Selkie candidate this year over a guy with the maple leaf on his jersey. Don't know,
Oh,
don't know about that one, but it's like I said, the little things win you in the playoffs. Like that's why you've seen the Panthers get like Sam Reinhart. You've seen them get guys like Evan Rodriguez, Kevin Stenlund, the guys that create the little things. It's the little things that win you championships, like back checking, like not knowing
yeah.
when to be aggressive, when not to be aggressive, like winning the face-offs. Like it's all those types of stuff that win you Stanley Cups. Just and like you said, like uh, I would have been shocked if his production in the regular season continued in the playoffs. To be
Yeah.
fair, because that
Yeah.
production was just otherworldly. Like that was goal scoring we hadn't seen since Pavel Bure. And
Yeah. And you don't think of Sam Reinhart in that light
no,
coming into this season. Pavel
but
Bure.
like I said, but like the first couple rounds, I think like people were like frustrated that he wasn't producing, but I also thought he was a part of the other team's game plan to shut him down because he led the league in power play goals by a wide margin.
Yeah.
So every team, like Tampa and Boston, you saw them; they were playing the pumper more than anything. But then the Rangers said, "Oh, he's not scoring now. Okay, now we can leave him open," which you can't because guess what? Leave him wide open, OT winner in the back of your net, bar down.
Yep. And game 4 on that game winning goal by Sam Reinhart, you see Monter one touch pass down to Barkov, Barkov into the bumper to Reinhart. You can't blame the Rangers too much on that. You can blame Trouba for rushing out from his spot. But what the Panthers did on that execution and play was
Yeah,
masterful. I don't know if you can expect as a Panther fan every time on the power play. And as you know, Cody, a lot of the fans that we interact with personally, their expectations are so high on what they want to see with our power play. And I think sometimes it's unrealistic.
it's
I
it's
think,
just
yeah,
what we saw like 3 hours north from here in Tampa Bay. Like we saw that power play dominate us and dominate us and dominate us. Like
mhm.
that I think a lot of fans like see that and like I want that power play. But like I said, I still believe the best power plays are the ones that score big goals. And the power play this season, in my opinion, has in the playoffs have scored big goal after big goal after big goal.
Yeah.
It's not changed. They continue to do it. Like once and I still think a lot of people are have flashbacks of, what was it, one for like 35 on the power play or something.
Yeah, they start to go back to that and what personnel that we had then too, that was
Yeah.
Duclair and Hornquist and different things. I think we have a good enough personnel for the power play, but I think in the offseason, Bill Zito obviously addressed the penalty kill and a lot of forwards, like namely bringing a guy like Kevin Stenlund and even some of the new guys back there on defense, like Dmitry Kulikov has been very stout and solid. Nico Mikkola, of course, who helped contribute to the Barkov breakaway there that I thought should
He
have been a
needed that
penalty
bounce
shot.
back though.
Yeah, and a play like that could really get Nico Mikkola going. I haven't been overly upset with his game, but I thought that can really get him going.
I
But like
just
just yep.
I just thought he had a bad sequence because he iced it and then loses his man and that causes the Lafreniere tying goal. But besides that, game 3, I thought he was good. And like that overtime, I don't think Barkov gets that. Barkov doesn't get that breakaway without him. By the way, ref should have been a penalty shot.
Yeah.
Just, I mean, it was just he's bounced back in big ways.
Mhm.
Gustav Forsling has been phenomenal for Florida, though. A
Yeah,
guy,
yeah, go ahead.
I feel like as Panther fans, we're seeing him take major steps and steps that me and you never thought he would even take. If we're being
Mhm.
real here, like me and
Well,
you,
what he's doing in front of the net on
yeah,
Chris Kreider, I saw a highlight package on that. A lot of our media talks about the Gustav Forsling zone denials, his stick positioning, but I'm seeing some stuff in front of the net where he's battling
yeah.
and competing, and I always wondered, does he have that in his game? Can he give a
I
little more?
questioned it, and I'm happy to
Question.
say I was wrong on that.
Yeah. But I also think that he has put an emphasis on that. And maybe playing playoff hockey for a couple years now, that light bulb in that part of his game has finally clicked
Yeah,
because he was getting out muscled, outmaneuvered. So I don't know if it was technique stuff. I don't know if it was him working a little harder in the gym, whatever it might be. Chris Kreider is not a small man. And Gustav Forsling is frustrating him in front of the net. And we saw
Kreider's
that.
been like as of this point of this series, Gustav Forsling has wiped out Chris Kreider out of this series so far,
Yeah.
and
And we
this,
know where Chris Kreider loves to live in front of the
yeah.
net.
I mean, you saw the hat trick versus Carolina, and like I said in the preview podcast, this is a guy we need to take away because he was my focal point. Like he was my number one key because I thought if we were not good in front of our net, he would kill us. Because
Yep.
I remember the TJ Oshie, I remember the Corey Perrys, and I remember the Tyler Bertuzzi last season. Like those types of guys usually kill us. But now
Mhm.
I think we found a good way of a very good structure to help defend against those net front presences.
Yep. I had Chris Kreider as my number 4 coming into this
I
series.
didn't think I have him on there.
You didn't have him?
But I
I had at number 2 Vincent Trocheck and number 1 Barkov through 4 games.
but
That's looking pretty good.
I mean it's kind of crazy the fact that the Rangers' best forward through these 4 games has been Alexei Lafreniere, who has a confidence about him that he has not had since junior.
You're putting him ahead of Trocheck. I think it's a very tight race. I'd have an edge to Trocheck.
I think I'm giving it to Lafreniere.
I don't know. Trocheck gets him going on the power play. What is he right now? Is he tops for faceoffs right now with the remaining 4 teams
Yeah,
right now?
but here's the thing, but Lafreniere has scored. Like if Lafreniere doesn't score any of those goals, it's 3-1 Panthers right now.
Yeah, but I think Trocheck has been like the heartbeat for the Rangers if you take Igor out of the equation. I think that next guy is
Yeah,
there. I think Lafreniere has come up with big moments, but I don't know if he's like carrying this team. I would say
I
Igor,
don't think I don't
Trocheck, and then you can get into
carrying's
Lafreniere
not a
or
good word.
Forsling.
Igor's carrying this team. Let me
Yes.
put that out there. He's carrying them. Lafreniere is just he's one of the people trying to drive the bus. Like because right now, because
But where would they be without Trocheck when Panarin's not there, Kreider's not there, Zibanejad's not there?
yeah,
Trocheck's like that next guy in that star role. I
yeah,
don't
and I
think
mean,
Lafreniere could be able to do it all
yeah.
himself.
And
Right?
as of right now, Zibanejad's and Barkov hell because, like you said, Barkov has been matched up with both the Trocheck line and the Zibanejad line. He's been good against the Trocheck line, but he has dominated Mika Zibanejad this series. I mean, it's not even close.
Mhm.
It's just Barkov pickpocketing him, going the other way with Reinhardt. Reinhardt doing the same thing. And Zibanejad was the one that caused Wheeler to have that penalty, which promptly the Panthers won game 4 off of.
Yep, correct.
And
Panarin made another mistake
yeah,
uh at the opposing blue line
yeah,
as well.
and when we talk about this is why I have so much confidence in the Panthers right now because Barkov's going right now, Reinhardt's going, Verhaeghe's going. Bennett has had his 2 best games of the playoffs since he's come back from that wrist injury. Kachuk is going. He's not quite. I think he has another level or two. I know for a fact that he does.
Yeah, I wanted to get into Kachuk. Can we just hold on that for a second? Because
Yeah.
I want to go back to like if Lafreniere is their best player, or you think like he's at the top there, I think also Barclay Goodrow being there, that's not a good sign for the Rangers, right?
Nah, it's just like you're sitting there, you're like, because Panther fans, I guarantee you're like, are you kidding me? Barclay Goodrow again? Like 3 goals in 2 games. But we all know sitting here, it's not sustainable. Like,
No.
like it's not. Like Jordan Martinook last year, 10 points
Yes.
in
Thank you.
5 games. Like it
Mhm.
happens in the postseason. It's just, Maxime Talbot in the Stanley Cup final scores 2 goals. Like
Yep.
bottom sixers come to play sometimes, and it's not gonna. I'd be surprised if he scored again this series, but it's not sustainable for the Rangers because they have gone by through the skates of their teeth so far.
Yeah, and that's not going to be sustainable unless like Igor even hits another level.
I
Panthers
don't think he
offense,
can.
yeah, just falls off a chasm. Again, like the Panthers are putting over 100 shot attempts on net in that game 3 there. And just to get back to the special teams there, the Rangers are leading the postseason 5 shorthanded goals, but they need more production going on the power play and their star players, like we just mentioned. But let's get into Matthew Tkachuk here a bit. I put out a tweet and oh my goodness, Panthers fans were saying this is not the right time and place. This was going into game 4. I said, simply put, we need more from Matthew Tkachuk moving forward in this series. It's not like I put the word, it's not acceptable. I'm not saying like that he's the reason why, but if you go back in the game 3 there, what he did on that shorthanded goal, lollygagging him back, like that was a very crucial goal for us to give up. And people all getting on Bob and this. I think a lot of the fan base, they don't hold accountability to Matthew Tkachuk. And you and me talk about this often, Cody. Like when Barkov's not going well and playing well, like we saw last year, I think there was on ice and off ice stuff going on in Barkov's life. The pneumonia, the different personal situations that were going on, and he just wasn't playing his best year last year. Coming into this year, he's been one of our best players, if not up there with Sam Reinhart. And through these playoffs, you have to say Aleksander Barkov's been there. If Matthew Tkachuk is going to 90% of what Aleksander Barkov is, like we're in a better position right now in this series, I believe, than where we are right now. I know it's razor thin margins, but this is a guy, Matthew Tkachuk, who has been sloppy with puck management. He hasn't been huge on the power play. He hasn't really got that line going, whether it's with Lundell or Bennett 5-on-5. Some nights people are like, where's the second line? You can go back to the Boston series into this series. It's kind of been a mixed bag here. Wasn't pleased with him in the Boston series. I thought the Tampa Bay series, he was putting up points, but he was doing the little things well as
The
like
Tampa
throughout that
Bay
whole series.
series, I loved his game.
Yes, I'm with you.
Like back checking, making the right plays. And here's the key: he was going to the net. Right now, I think his game is way too perimeter based. I
Mm-hmm.
think he's played better as the series has gone on, but I just need him to crash the net a bit more because that's how he got to be a $9.5 million player who, in actuality, is probably worth around 12, if we're being honest here. It's just, I need him to go back to his roots. What made him great? What made him a marquee guy that the Panthers really gave up a core for, to be honest with you? Like last year's playoffs, yeah, he was great, but this last year's playoffs or the Eastern
What
Conference Finals this year.
and Cody, you and I don't think are asking for him to come up in every single
Oh
clutch moment,
no,
all the big. We're not asking that. We're just asking him to play a bit more of a complete game in these series as you go along. It's not about, getting a couple secondary assists or different things like that. It's about being present through the whole game. Physicality. Look how Sam Bennett's come out the last couple of games, made a statement with his physicality and coming out like that. There's different players within the lineup. Evan Rodriguez has come out in some of these games and made a statement early on. You go back to the Boston series, Anton Lundell. I just think there's more that we can expect of Matthew Tkachuk. And when fans aren't happy with the power play or they're not happy with the overall offense, especially after the first period, I think you look at Matthew Tkachuk, he can do more on the power play. He can do more in the first 20 minutes of games. He can establish his presence out there. Has he done it in these 2024 playoffs? Yes, but I think he can do it more. And that takes a load and pressure off of Aleksander Barkov and Sam Reinhart when those pucks weren't going in the back of the net in game 1 and 2.
yeah, it's just like once again, like it's not like last year. He doesn't have to be, put us in a backpack and carry us because that's what he did last year. And we got on Barkov for that because Like Barkov wasn't playing good. He didn't play good to the Carolina series. Barkov did. Like he
I
got
liked
his
him. He got his game going after Boston in
yeah,
Game
but he
5 there.
wasn't like Barkov until Carolina.
Well, yeah, and that was his first spotlight series that
Yeah,
we've ever seen with him wearing a Florida Panthers jersey in a playoff situation. And
yeah.
it's like that's what you and I kind of indicated to our following and to our community, wait for Barkov to be matched up in that game. But yeah, it's not me like being critical of Matthew Tkachuk, but it's like time to step it up. Maybe I could have worded it a little differently. It's time to
I think
step up and like hit
the
another level.
unacceptable part made it seem like you thought he was playing like dirt trash. Like
Yeah, and maybe you knowing me that way, it's not.
yeah, you just
No.
like every Panther fan, like even you listener, you listening to this podcast right now, you know deep down there is two more levels Matthew Tkachuk can hit. You know it. Like, and once again, like I appreciate like the fan base showing like the charts or whatever. But once again, like for us and even for you guys, like you guys don't need a chart to tell you that Matthew Tkachuk isn't playing. Well, you could see it.
Yeah,
Like,
from last year.
yeah, like everyone here has watched every playoff game, and probably most regular season games. So you've seen Matthew Tkachuk at his best, and you know he can be better. Do I
Mhm.
think he can? Is it? Do I think? Do I? Let me first. Do I believe he could fix it this series? Oh, definitely. I have 100% confidence in this team, no doubt. It's just like once again, we don't have he doesn't need to be the best player anymore. He doesn't need to be the carrier anymore. But he doesn't need to be a passenger either.
Yeah.
Like,
And I felt that after game 3, you know.
yeah, like the goal in game one was huge, even though it was a softie by Igor, the only softie he's
Yes.
allowed this series. But it's just like he could hit another level or two. And
Mhm.
like I said, I want him to be more in front of the net. I understand that he wants to set guys up, but it's just like with him, like I don't worry about the points because he's gonna get them. And when he's playing at his best, that's when he gets a boatload of them. It's just, like he could do better, and I know he can, and I believe he will.
Yeah.
It's just,
We have
you
the
know,
confidence now.
it's game five. It's Chad Tutu, best 2 out of 3 now.
Yep. I just wanted to add here before we wrap up tonight. Florida snapped the OT loss streak. It would have been 3 losses in a row, and you don't know what that would have turned into in game 5. Like I was kind of like, oh, if the Rangers get us early in this series, it could be in 5, but I did pick Florida in 7. There was 10 teams to do that in the history. What the Rangers tried to do, win 3 games in overtime. The Panthers were one of those 10 teams last year in the playoffs when they beat Toronto in that series clinching game in round 2.
Yeah.
And then when they won the game 1 against Carolina Hurricanes in the 4 overtimes, I think I have that right. And then when they beat the Carolina Hurricanes in game 2 in overtime. So the Rangers almost matched history by being the 11th team to do that. But the Panthers are back in this series. And like a lot of fans said to us, Cody, it was a must win.
I think it
So
was must win for me because I didn't want to have the feeling of them getting eliminated on my birthday.
yes, early happy birthday to Cody. He didn't want that to be happening for game 5. So,
Yeah,
but I was confident whatever we were, if we were down 3-1, even 2-2, how we're going to look
yeah.
going back to MSG.
Even though I
And
picked the Rangers here, but I expected a lot more from their stars, specifically Savannah Jed. I thought he'd be a lot better. I like just can't predict everything, but if I'm wrong here, this will be the happiest wrong I'll ever take.
yeah, and we knew coming into this series there was a lot of Ranger players that could be dangerous and deadly in this series, and the Panthers have done a good job to date of shutting them down. Before we wrap up here tonight, I just want to say everyone can join us for the post game Spaces X show. Make sure to join us right at the conclusion of Puck Drop. We've got a lot of people coming in there. So if you want to speak, get on mic early and often. And we've got also the listener chat in there going. So you can be in there as a listener. So if you haven't yet joined us, make sure to join us for that. We've got a new YouTube channel. Please subscribe to that. It will be in the show notes. So just look in the show notes and you can subscribe to our YouTube channel there. We're going to start moving stuff over there in the summer. And we're going to probably have some video content down the road here, and maybe some exclusive and original content too, especially when we head into the off season here. So look for that. Also our Instagram page too, Cats and Rats Podcast. Make sure to follow that. And again, that's in the show description. Anything on the way out here, Cody?
Nope. Let's go Panthers. Let's get this, baby.
Let's get it. I just want to add here, I want to give a shout out to our sponsor, Caneswear. Caneswear is more than just a store. It's an experience. They have a huge selection of items for all your favorite South Florida home teams, items from Adidas, 47 brand, G3, New Era, Fanatics, and more. Sizes for men, women, kids, babies, and even pets. If you're going to go to the games or watching on TV, only one local place to get your Cats gear. So go over to Caneswear, located at T2655 South University Drive. Again, that's T2655 South University Drive in Davie. And of course, always open at PanthersWear.com. That's PanthersWear, WEAR.com, for all your Panthers need.